Humans have always been drawn to the unknown, the mysterious, and the unexplained. Long before the internet existed, people gathered around fires in temples and in small communities to share stories that helped them make sense of a world filled with danger and uncertainty. In many ways, conspiracy theories are simply a modern extension of this ancient psychological need. They serve as explanations for events that feel too big, too complex, or too frightening to accept at face value. When something unexpected or catastrophic happens, our minds immediately begin searching for meaning, patterns, and intent. We don't want to believe that the world is chaotic. We want a narrative that makes sense. And conspiracy theories, even the most outlandish ones, provide that sense of structure. One of the core reasons humans gravitate toward conspiracy theories is rooted in cognitive shortcuts known as heuristics. Our brains are constantly processing overwhelming amounts of information, and instead of analyzing everything rationally, we rely on mental shortcuts to reach conclusions quickly. These shortcuts evolved as survival mechanisms. For example, if someone in ancient times heard rustling in the bushes, the safer bet was to assume a predator was hiding, even if it was just the wind. Today, this same instinct makes people jump to conclusions when they see coincidental patterns, controversial headlines, or incomplete information. The brain prefers a dramatic, intentional explanation over a random, accidental one. It feels safer to believe that someone is in control even if their intentions are sinister than to accept that no one is steering the ship. Another powerful force behind the attraction to conspiracy theories is known as pattern recognition. Humans are exceptional at detecting patterns, sometimes even when those patterns don't exist. This skill helped early humans detect threats, find food, and avoid danger. But in the modern world, where information flows faster than we can process it, this talent often misfires. When people encounter a series of events that seem related, their brains automatically weave a narrative that connects the dots. This is why individuals see secret plots behind political decisions, technological advancements, or celebrity death. Once the brain notices a pattern, whether real or imagined, it becomes emotionally satisfying to believe it is true because it transforms confusion into clarity. Emotion also plays a major role in the appeal of conspiracy theories. Feelings like fear, uncertainty, anger, and even boredom can drive people toward explanations that feel more exciting or dramatic. When something bad happens, such as a tragedy or crisis, conspiracy theories offer emotional relief by providing someone or something to blame. Instead of accepting that random accidents occur, people prefer stories that point to a villain, a mastermind, or a hidden agenda. This creates a sense of psychological closure. The mind feels calmer when it believes it understands what happened and why, even if the explanation is false. It reduces anxiety by replacing chaos with order. A related factor is the human desire for control. When people feel powerless, confused, or overwhelmed by world events, conspiracy theories offer a sense of empowerment. Believing in a secret truth gives individuals the feeling that they are part of a select group who see the world as it really is. This sense of special knowledge triggers a dopamine response, the same chemical associated with pleasure, motivation, and reward. The idea that you have uncovered something others can't see makes you feel intelligent, unique, and in control. In this way, conspiracy theories are psychologically addictive. They make the believer feel like they belong to an exclusive club, which reinforces the desire to seek out even more hidden explanations. Social identity also plays a crucial role. Humans are tribal creatures who crave belonging. When someone starts to believe in a conspiracy theory, they often find communities both online and offline where others share the same worldview. These communities provide validation, support, and a sense of unity. If someone outside the group challenges their beliefs, it often strengthens the conspiracy thinking, because disagreement is interpreted as evidence that the truth is being suppressed. This creates a psychological loop where believers become increasingly convinced that they are part of a heroic struggle against a powerful, deceptive force. Another psychological mechanism that fuels conspiracy beliefs is the need for cognitive consistency. When people hold strong beliefs, especially ones connected to identity or emotion, they tend to seek information that confirms those beliefs and reject information that contradicts them. This is known as confirmation bias. The internet amplifies this effect by allowing people to surround themselves with content that matches their views while blocking out opposing perspectives. As a result, conspiracy believers often fall into echo chambers where the same ideas are repeated over and over, creating the illusion that they are widely accepted. Repetition strengthens belief. The more often someone hears the same narrative, the more familiar and therefore more true it feels. Cultural factors also contribute. In times of rapid social change, political polarization, economic instability, or technological disruption, uncertainty increases. When people feel that institutions are failing or that society is breaking down, trust in authority decreases. Distrust becomes the default mindset. In this environment, conspiracy theories thrive because they provide an alternative explanation, one that fits the emotional climate of skepticism and suspicion. This distrust is not always irrational. Sometimes it is rooted in real historical events where governments, corporations, or powerful individuals acted dishonestly. When past betrayals are part of collective memory, people become more receptive to modern narratives of hidden corruption. Technology and media amplify these psychological tendencies. Social platforms reward content that provokes strong emotions, and conspiracy theories are naturally engaging. Their dramatic narratives capture attention, encourage sharing, and evoke strong reactions. Algorithms notice this engagement and push the content to even more people, creating a cycle where conspiracy narratives spread rapidly. The speed at which false information travels often surpasses the speed of fact-checking or rational analysis. Once a dramatic narrative enters the public consciousness, it becomes extremely difficult to correct or reverse. At the neurological level, conspiracy thinking is tied to the brain's reward systems. When people discover new information that supports their beliefs, their brains release chemicals associated with satisfaction. Each time they uncover another piece of the puzzle, the brain rewards them. This creates a feedback loop that reinforces the behavior. Over time, believing in conspiracy theories becomes not just an intellectual position, but an emotional habit. The brain becomes accustomed to seeking hidden meaning behind every event, every headline, and every coincidence. The appeal of conspiracy theories is also linked to the psychological need for narrative coherence. Humans understand the world through stories. We crave beginnings, middles, and endings. We want heroes and villains. Conspiracy theories offer this narrative structure in a simplified and emotionally dramatic form. They often portray the believer as a true seeker, the conspirators as powerful enemies, and society as blind or manipulated. This dynamic is extremely compelling because it places the believer at the center of an epic story. It transforms ordinary life into a battle between good and evil. Another surprising factor is the human tendency toward proportionality bias. When a major event occurs, like a political assassination, natural disaster, or global crisis, our brains expect an equally major cause. We struggle to accept that something small or accidental could create massive consequences. This leads people to believe that large events must have large, intentional causes. Conspiracy theorists satisfy this expectation by offering explanations that match the magnitude of the event. A complex, tragic event caused by human error feels unacceptable. But a secret plot orchestrated by powerful figures feels more appropriate to the scale of the outcome. Conspiracy theories also thrive because they simplify a world that feels overwhelmingly complex. Modern societies generate an enormous amount of information, scientific data, political decisions, global conflicts, technological advancements, and most people do not have the time or cognitive resources to fully understand these systems. When life becomes too complicated, the mind searches for shortcuts that make sense of the chaos. Conspiracy narratives reduce this complexity into simple, digestible explanations. They offer clear motives, identifiable enemies, and a storyline that ties everything together. Instead of facing a confusing and unpredictable world, the conspiracy believer receives a narrative that feels ordered, meaningful, and emotionally satisfying. Another psychological force that reinforces conspiracy thinking is the fear of randomness. Humans are deeply uncomfortable with the idea that life can change suddenly and unpredictably. Random accidents, natural disasters, and unexpected tragedies provoke anxiety because they reveal how fragile and uncontrollable life truly is. Conspiracy theories remove the randomness by replacing it with intention. Even if the intention is sinister, the mind prefers it over chaos. To believe that powerful forces are orchestrating events feels strangely safer than accepting the uncomfortable truth that the world is often shaped by chance. This illusion of control helps many people cope with fear, especially during uncertain times. Identity protection also plays an important role. Once someone adopts a conspiracy belief, it becomes part of who they are. It shapes how they see themselves, how they interpret the world, and how they interact with others. If the belief is challenged, the person feels as though their identity is under attack. This triggers a defensive psychological response. Instead of reconsidering the belief, they cling to it more tightly. This is known as motivated reasoning, the tendency to interpret information in a way that protects one's worldview. The more emotionally invested someone is in a conspiracy theory, the more difficult it becomes for them to let go, even when confronted with strong evidence. Another factor is projection. Sometimes people attribute their own fears, frustrations, or internal conflicts onto external forces. If someone feels out of control in their personal life, they may channel those emotions into beliefs that the world itself is controlled by hidden powers. The conspiracy becomes a psychological mirror that reflects their inner turmoil. By externalizing their fears, individuals momentarily relieve themselves of emotional tension. This form of projection can be subtle and unconscious, but it significantly strengthens conspiracy thinking. Group dynamics amplify these effects even further. In communities built around conspiracy theories, members validate and reinforce one another's beliefs. The social reward of belonging, likes, comments, emotional support, shared identity creates a powerful incentive to remain aligned with the group. If someone begins to doubt, the fear of being rejected or excluded often keeps them silent or pushes them deeper into belief. Humans are social creatures. We avoid social isolation at all costs. The desire to belong frequently outweighs the desire to be correct. Conspiracy communities take advantage of this tendency, making it emotionally difficult for members to detach. Another psychological mechanism involved is the illusion of explanatory depth. People often believe they understand something deeply, when, in reality, their knowledge is superficial. Conspiracy theories exploit this illusion by offering simple explanations that make people feel informed, even though the explanations lack real evidence. This false sense of understanding increases confidence and decreases openness to new information. The conspiracy becomes a comfortable intellectual shortcut that replaces the need for genuine learning. Additionally, conspiracy theories often tap into curiosity by presenting themselves as mysteries to be solved. They are structured like puzzles, encouraging people to connect the dots and uncover hidden meanings. This process stimulates the brain's reward system, creating a sense of excitement and discovery. Each new piece of supposed evidence feels like progress in a secret investigation. Conspiracy believers are not merely consuming information, they are participating in a story. They become investigators of their own reality, and this active engagement forms a deep emotional bond with the narrative. Past trauma or unresolved emotional wounds can also make individuals more susceptible to conspiracy thinking. When people have experienced betrayal, injustice, or significant emotional pain, they may develop a generalized mistrust of others. Conspiracy theories align with this worldview, reinforcing the belief that the world is dangerous and that powerful entities are working against them. This confirmation of internal fears feels familiar and therefore believable. The conspiracy becomes an emotional echo of earlier life experiences, making it harder to challenge or abandon. Cognitive dissonance. The discomfort experienced when reality contradicts one's beliefs also plays a major role. To reduce this discomfort, conspiracy believers often reinterpret contradictory evidence as part of the conspiracy itself. In their minds, the more something debunks their belief, the more it must be. This creates a self-reinforcing belief system where every attempt to correct misinformation becomes, ironically, evidence that the conspiracy is real. The emotional payoff of conspiracy theories should not be underestimated. They offer drama, suspense, and a steady stream of emotional stimulation. In a world where attention is a valuable resource, conspiracy narratives provide constant excitement. They trigger fear, anger, surprise, and curiosity emotions that keep people engaged. This emotional roller coaster becomes addictive, especially when everyday life feels monotonous or unfulfilling. For some individuals, the conspiracy becomes a source of meaning, identity, and purpose, filling psychological voids that they may not even be aware of. Finally, the universal human search for truth plays a significant role. People want to understand why things happen. We seek explanations, even when evidence is incomplete or unclear. Conspiracy theories exploit this natural curiosity by offering explanations that feel more complete than reality. Real explanations are often uncertain, technical, or unsatisfying, whereas conspiracy explanations are dramatic and emotionally charged. They present themselves as revelation secrets that only a few have the courage to uncover. This illusion of truth is powerful because it satisfies the psychological hunger for meaning. At the core of it all, the appeal of conspiracy theories is rooted in the deepest layers of human psychology. The need for control, belonging, understanding, identity, and emotional certainty. These narratives spread not because people are foolish, but because they are human. They tap into ancient instincts, emotional vulnerabilities, and cognitive shortcuts that shape our perception of reality. Understanding these mechanisms does not make anyone immune to them, but it helps us recognize why these beliefs are so compelling and why they persist despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Even those who do not fully believe in conspiracy theories can feel their pull. The stories are gripping, the mystery is intriguing, and the idea of hidden knowledge deeply seductive. The line between healthy skepticism and the irrational belief is thin, and anyone can cross it under the right conditions. Awareness is the first step toward protecting ourselves from falling into these psychological traps. When we understand how our minds operate, we navigate the world with greater clarity, humility, and resilience. In the end, the human mind remains the greatest mystery of all. It is not just conspiracy theories that fascinate us, but the very mechanisms that shape our beliefs, our fears, and our understanding of reality. By exploring why we believe the things we do, we come closer to understanding who we truly are. If you want to dive deeper into the mysteries of the human mind, uncover hidden psychological patterns, and explore the stories behind our perceptions, make sure to subscribe to MindDecode HQ. Turn on notifications and join a community where every idea opens a door. Every thought hides a secret, and every belief reveals something extraordinary about what it means to be human.